Hey everyone, what's up? It's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing something very exciting. As you may or may not know, I am an actor as well as a aspiring / new booktuber. This year I wanted to kind of make more videos, tie in my experience as an actor and like a filmmaker in with my booktube videos. So this video is the first kind of step in that direction. I'm reading the naturals right now, so like my mind is just totally somewhere else. Oftentimes when I'm reading books, I do cast them either with famous actors or just people in my life. I often, if I like the main character and can see myself playing that person, will cast myself as the lead. So today I'm going to be kind of engaging in a bit of a narcissistic endeavor and tier ranking main characters in books based on how much I want to play them. It is really fun for me to imagine playing all these different characters as I'm reading these books. When I'm not playing a character, like when I don't have acting work, which is like most of the time, it kind of helps like exercise that part of my creativity in a much smaller way, obviously, than actually playing the part. But it is a really fun part of like my reading experience. Anyway, let's just get into it because these tier ranking videos take a long time. I'm always scared that it's not going to record. Okay, so we have quite a few books here. I've kind of just gone through all of the books that I read since I really got back into reading. If there is already an adaptation of this book, I didn't do it. Example, Daisy Jones and the Six, Lessons in Chemistry. Just didn't include them because they already exist. The tiers that I have. 1, I would sell my soul to the devil to play this character. That is my character. I will literally do anything to play this character. Obviously not anything, but I think about playing this character like every day. 2 is where do I sign? This is a great opportunity. Let's go. Let's rock. I'm in. 3 is a career-changing role. This is unlike anything I've ever done before. It's not like when I read it, I was like, I need to play this, but it's like that would be amazing and would definitely broaden my resume and change the trajectory of my career in a good way. 4 is like, it would be fun. It's not like I don't want to do it, but I'm not like, I need to do it. It's not like it would be this critically acclaimed film. It would just be a fun experience. I'd be down for it. Have no reservations, but I know that it's not really going to be completely life-changing either for me as an artist or for my career. 5 is if it had a good director and cast. The scripts probably under the wrong hands could definitely be a little hallmarky, but if it fell under the hands of like a really good director and other good cast members and like a good team, it could be fun. 6 is like, it's a paycheck job. I really wouldn't love doing it. There's nothing in the script that would be like, I would not want to do that. It wouldn't really be the best time. I don't really feel super connected to the material. I would do it for the money. And then 7 is never in a million years, ever, for anything. For any amount of money, anyone in the cast, whatever. I would just never do it. We'll see if any make it into that category. I doubt they will. Okay, so the first is Who is Maud Dixon? This is like a thriller. This I think would be fun to do just because of the locations that it films. I want to say it's like in Morocco or something. It definitely wouldn't sell my soul to the devil to play this character. It's not a where do I sign. I don't think it would be career changing necessarily, but I think it would be fun just because of the locations. And I love a good thriller. I love like the dynamic between Florence and the writer. I forget exactly what her name is. So next is Motley Gray in The Maid. I love this character. She is so innocent and like naive, but also very smart and very strong. And she's a very like specific type of character. I love her relationship with her grandma. I think she's really sweet. I think in a way it would be a career-changing role just in the sense that I don't typically play characters that are naive. I usually play very like fiery characters. I definitely think it would be fun. It's not a where do I sign. I think it has the potential of being a career-changing role. It's so stylized. She's such a character and it's a character unlike any that I've ever played. Okay, When in Rome, Amelia, who I believe goes by like Ray Rose. She's this pop star who's teetering on the edge of burnout. She basically like escapes to this town in Kentucky, Rome, Kentucky. It could be like a Hallmark type movie. It's romance. Her car ends up breaking down on the side of the road on her way and like the cell service is down and this guy comes out named Noah and like tries to help her and it's kind of about famous pop star goes to small town and discovers the meaning of life trope. I think the script in the wrong hands could be really bad, but I'm also just like, where do I sign? Like I'm always down to play a pop star. I think I'm just gonna go with where do I sign, but also with the caveat, if it was in the wrong hands, I wouldn't want to do it. Assuming it's in the right hands, I would really, really, really want to play that. Yellowface. the character of June Hayward, I think her name is. She's a white girl. Her friend-ish from college is like this very successful Chinese-American writer. And in the first chapter, she dies and June discovers her manuscript for her next book. June herself is not very successful. She's probably like average writer. She takes the manuscript, gets a new pen name that's like ethnically ambiguous, and like publishes the manuscript for herself. She's really not likable as a main character, but the way it's written is like really funny. I just think it would be so fun to play this. And I'm just gonna say, where do I sign? The writing in the script would be so good and like so fun and so juicy. I just think it would be such a fun character to play. Next is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. Amelia Wright. I don't really remember much about this book other than a couple like goes through this retreat just themselves in this house in the middle of nowhere. There's a storm. I think it would be a paycheck job. I do remember as a reader the book had like a really cool twist at the end, but there wasn't anything specific about the character that I was like, oh, like I need to play this character. Next is A Winter in New York. I love this book. It's basically about this English girl who comes to New York because her mother, who recently passed away, spent a big portion of the 80s in the Lower East Side. There's this whole plot line with this Italian family and this gelateria and how they're related in some way to her mother. And it's just very snug. It's obviously a holiday movie. I think it would be really fun to do this. I'd also think with the caveat of if it had a good director and cast, I think in the wrong hands, it could be not the best film, but in the right hands, I think it could be very warm and very snug and like a really cute holiday movie. Reminders of him, where do I sign? Kenna, I believe the character's name is. Kenna Rowan. I also think it would be kind of a career-changing role just because it's such a drama. It's basically this girl, she has recently been released from prison and she is trying to connect with her daughter. Very dramatic, very character study, right up my alley. I remember sobbing, ugly crying when I read this book. I need to play this character. Throne of Glass series, the whole series, the character of Selena Sardothian. I would play a few other characters in that series, but we're sticking with main characters for the purpose of this video. I would sell my soul to the devil to play Selena Sardothian. My Instagram bio says Fireheart. Her arc is incredible. Sarah J. Maas just writes these badass women. There are so many scenes that would just be so fun to shoot. I think there's a lot of scenes that are super drama. There's a lot of scenes that are fun. There's a lot of scenes that are heightened and magical. I don't want to elaborate too much more because we have a lot of books to get through, but Selena Sardothian all the way. The Midnight Library. Who is the girl in that book? Oh, okay, Nora Seed. I think this would be a career-changing role. You get to play a lot of different versions of this character. It's kind of like a bunch of alternate realities, the beginning and the end, and like the journey of what she discovers. I don't want to give it away. This is spoiler-free. I think it's a really important story to tell, and I think if it's done well, I think it would be career-changing just from the standpoint of I think it's a really important story, and I'd get to play a lot of different versions of the same person, and that's really exciting. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I'd ironically sell my soul to the devil to play this character. I say ironically because it's about this woman who sells her soul to the devil in exchange for eternal youth. The caveat is nobody remembers her. She's been alive at this point for like 300 years. It goes back and forth between time periods from like 1690 something in France until now. It would just be so fun to play 300 years old in my own body, to be able to play this young naive girl who makes this big mistake and then play this 300-year-old who's led this life. If no one can remember you, you can't really have a job. You can't own a house. You can't rent a house. You can't form any relationships whatsoever. She's been surviving in a really specific way. Playing the weight of having to do that for 300 years is really something else. I would want Jean-Luc to play Henry too. That would be amazing. Next, the On Honeymooners. I would say paycheck job. I mean, I think it would be fun from the standpoint of like the location. It would shoot in a tropical location, so it would be kind of like a vacation, but I think in terms of the content, it would be a paycheck job. Like I would definitely do it for the money and I would do it for the vacation I would basically get to take by doing this film. It's about this girl who's a twin, who's like the unlucky twin. It opens at her sister's wedding, but the luck kind of changes because something, I think it might have been like a fish dish that people ate at the wedding. It made everyone sick that ate it, and so like the bride and the groom both ate it, and so they couldn't go on their honeymoon. The main character did not eat it, so she's good, and then the husband's brother also did not eat it, so he's good, but they're kind of like, they don't really like each other, but they end up going on this honeymoon together because it's unrefundable or something. They don't want to cancel the the trip. It's nothing like that special in terms of character that I'm looking for, but I do think it would be, I think the experience of doing it would be a nice little vacation, and it would be a money job. Colleen Hoover, All Your Perfects. I loved this book. This is like one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books, but in terms of playing the part, I'm not sure it would stretch like too many of my muscles. I don't think it would be a career-changing role. I'm not like, where do I sign? Even though it's one of my favorite books, just like character-wise, I didn't feel, oh, I like need to play this character. So I'm gonna do would be fun. I don't know if fun is the right word though. If it had a good director and cast, I think that would really elevate it. I think that this script in the wrong hands could also just be really, really bad. I think if it had a good director and a good cast, I would do it. Next is The Love Hypothesis. This book I thought was a little overrated, but I think it would be really fun to play a scientist. I've never played a scientist before. Even though it's a rom-com, there's some interesting things that happen. I think it would be fun. I don't think it would be career changing. I think it would be fun. Okay, next is Heartbones. I might be a little old to play this character now. It's really a story about class and the wealth gap, which I am all for. I think it's with these Colleen Hoover books. If it has a good director and cast, like absolutely sign me up. The character in and of itself is like not enough for me to say it would be fun. I think in the right hands, it could be a good experience. The House Across the Lake, Casey. I'm kind of like, where do I sign with this one? The plot is a little far-fetched for me, but the character Casey, her husband recently passed away. She has this mother who's this famous like Broadway legend, and she herself is an actor. She is trying to escape a stream of bad press, and so she's escaped to her lake house, and she's just drinking herself into oblivion. She saves her neighbor from drowning one day, and then that neighbor goes missing. It's a mystery, but there's a lot to do, and I just remember reading it knowing the character. Like I like understood her from the beginning. The A Court of Thorns and Roses series, Feyre. I would say, where do I sign? I obviously am a Nesta girly. I wouldn't sell my soul to the devil to play Feyre, but I would obviously play Feyre. She's just not the one that I connect to the most in the series, but I would literally do anything to be involved with the making of that series. Maybe someday. This character, Sydney. Yeah, the Colleen Hoover is really like, if it had a good director and cast. I don't know why exactly the Colleen Hoover books are ending up here. I don't know. There's just something about a Colleen Hoover story in the wrong hands is scary to me. There's definitely a world in which you could like overdo certain elements of a Colleen Hoover book as a filmmaker and it just would not translate. But I think Sydney would be a fun character to play, but it wouldn't be something that I'm like dying to play. I almost want to put it in Paycheck Job. Yeah, I think I might put it in Paycheck Job. It's a little young for me now. Her perspective is it's one that I've kind of like moved past a little bit. I think it would be something that I'd kind of do more for the money than anything else. The Unmaking of June Farrow, the character of June Farrow. I would say, where do I sign? I don't want to give anything away, so I won't say exactly what it's about. There's an element of this book that most scripts that involve that element, I'd be super into playing. It's about this girl, June. Her grandmother recently died and her mom disappeared when she was born, basically. She's just trying to figure out why that is. And there's a lot of really fun dynamics that I would love to play, but I just can't really tell you what they are because it's kind of a spoiler. A Flicker in the Dark. I think this is about a girl who has like a serial killer for a dad, and there's another murder mystery that she's trying to solve. I would say I don't need to play this by any means. It's not a career-changing role. I think it would be fun. I remember really liking it, but I remember really liking it more as a reader and not so much as I need to play this. I'm between these two. I would say if it had a good director and cast, I would do it. There are definitely some fun elements to play with, but it would have to be like the right team, I think. Okay, next we have Liz Caron's Knight's Edge. I would say, where do I sign? The character is Mia. I actually know Liz and I've worked with her as an actor before in her play Stop Motion. Her writing is just so fun to sink your teeth into as an actor. I played an 11-year-old. It was still fun to sink my teeth into. I just love the concept of the story. It's like Mommy Dearest meets vampire story. It's presented in a more like scientific way in this book, and there's like quarantine zones, curfews and stuff, kind of similar to like what we experienced in COVID, but also a little different. The book is really unique, and I think the character is really exciting because she really lacked normal experiences as a child because her mother literally like feeds off of her, and no one's allowed to know that like her mom is this vampire because then she would get put in like a facility or something. She has this like huge secret, and I think that's always really fun to play. It's such a thrilling book. I don't know if I'd be too young, but I would love to play Mia. Next we have The 7-Year Slip. This was a really fun rom-com for me. I really enjoyed it. In terms of like playing Clementine, I don't need to play that character. I love the book. I gave it 5 stars, like I said. But in terms of connection to the character, I don't need to play this character. I don't think it would be a career-changing role, but I think it would be fun. It would just kind of be like, it was fun. Like, I don't think the character has any characteristics that are like super out there. I don't think the plot is like super out there, but it's fun. I think the story is fun, and I think the experience is fun. The character Clementine herself is like not someone that I'm like dying to play, but I would absolutely do it, and it would be a really good time. Next is my year of rest and relaxation. I would say Where Do I Sign? I love character studies. I love just sitting with a character for like a really long time, just sitting there with the character, and I think that this book does that really well. It's basically about this girl who's unnamed narrator. I think her mother passed away, and she was like, okay, if I just take sleeping pills for a year and just sleep for the whole year, I'll be fine after that. I love playing characters that are like a little bit on the brink of going mad. I love stories about like mental health. There is humor in it as well. I just think it would be it would be a really cool experience to play this character. Next, fourth wing, Violet. I would say Where Do I Sign? Any like main female lead in like an action-oriented fantasy, I'm probably gonna want to do. I was not super connected to Fourth Wing as a book series in the way that other people are, which is totally fine, and I love that people are connected to it. But in terms of like Violet, I love her arc. I think her arc is so exciting, and I love the dragon aspect. There's a lot to do with that character. She goes from point A to point Z, back to point P to point, like she's just like all over the place. Obviously, as an actor, that's really exciting. Harriet in Happy Place, I think would be fun. I think that would be like a fun ensemble cast to work with. I loved the book. It's a really beautiful coming of age story. I love coming of age stories. It wouldn't be a career changing, and it's not like a role I need to play, but I do think it would be fun, and I would absolutely do it. Okay, so then we have Payton and Powerless. Oopsies. Payton and Powerless, yes. I would say, I don't know. Part of me is like, Where Do I Sign? Maybe I will move her here. Yeah, if somebody offered me that role, I'd be like, Where Do I Sign? If someone was like, do you want to play Payton and Powerless? I'd be like, yes, Where Do I Sign? Okay, next we have Bryce Quinlan in Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. I have only read the first book. I'm going to read the second book very soon in time for the third book release because Nesta is gonna be in that book. Get to that later. Bryce, I would say also Where Do I Sign? I wouldn't sell my soul to play this Sarah J Maas main character. I would do it in a heartbeat. I think it would be so fun. Out of like Selena, Nesta, and Feyre, Bryce is the one that I probably like personally least identified with, but having said that, obviously she's still a Sarah J Maas female protagonist and would want to play her. It just didn't hit as hard as Selena Sarothian did for me. Yeah, oh my god, this would be so fun. Like the set, the other characters, the world, oh my god, it would be so fun. Again, I haven't read the second one yet. I've just read the first. Again, like you go from point A to point Z. It would be so fun to play. Next we have the silent patient Alicia. I think that would be a career-changing role. It would be harrowing, I think, to play that character, but again, as I said, I really love characters that are like on the brink of madness. She's been locked up in a mental institution. The Silent Patient is one of my favorite books as well, so it would be such a dramatic undertaking. If I did a good job and it was a big film, I think people would take me more seriously than they do now. Okay, next, Beautiful Ruins. I think her name is Dee, or like Dee Dee, the actress in the 60s, that character. I just think it would be fun because of the locations. Get to go to Italy and shoot on the coast of Italy. I mean, like, need I say more? I think that's pretty much it. Like, I think it would just be really fun. I think it would be a really fun shoot to play this like old movie star from the 60s in Italy. Like, let's go. So we have Hannah Brooks from The Bodyguard. I think this would be fun too. It's, you know, a female bodyguard like protecting a male client. I think that would just be like a really fun dynamic, and the end scene seems really fun. I loved this book. I laughed, I cried, I thought it was funny, I thought it was sweet, I thought it was dramatic, a little action-packed, and I think it would just be really fun. Next is Marlena. This is a book I read actually like a really long time ago, and it is high school. It's this coming of age story about friendship. I think I would want to play Marlena. She's like the popular girl that like everybody wants to be, but there's like a darkness to her character, and the other girl I think who narrates it, she kind of like, if I remember correctly, puts her on a bit of a pedestal, but like the reality of Marlena's life is very different than what she presents to the world, and that's always super interesting to me as an actor. I know the character's a little younger than I am, but I did just play an 11-year-old, as I said, so I think I could do it. I almost want to say where do I sign for this one. I don't know. I don't think it would be career changing. It would be fun. The only reason I'm holding back on the where do I sign is just because it is, I feel like I played one character very similar to this a while ago. Maybe I'll just put it in would be fun because I feel like I've played a kind of a similar character already. As an actor, you always want to be doing new things. Oh my god, Daisy Hates. I think I would sell my soul to play this character. I love Daisy Hates. I've only read the first 2 books of the Magnolia Park series. Daisy is in this sort of like British mob family. Her parents were killed in front of her when she was very young. Her brother basically raised her. He's like 10 years older than her or something like that. And he's a very known arms dealer. He steals art. Like that's how they make their money. So they live this very privileged life. But unlike Magnolia Parks, who's like the other kind of main character of the series, Daisy's always afraid that someone's behind her trying to kill her. She lives a very different lifestyle than the other characters in her social circles just because she presents as very privileged, but at the end of the day, people are like trying to kill her all the time and it's kind of a really scary lifestyle. I just love her. There are so many scenes that I'm just like, when I read them, I was just so emotionally connected to the character. Because you read scenes that make you emotional, but then you read other scenes that make you emotional in a way that you feel like you are the character in some ways. I mean, I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that's how I felt when I read this book. What she does at the end, I think she's so brave. I think she's fundamentally like a really good person just in this like really crazy world with these crazy people around her. Verity, I think her name is like Lowen or something. I think it would be fun. I think it would be fun. Would it be fun? I didn't really connect to the character of Lowen. I do think it would be fun. Yeah, right? I think it would be fun if it had a good director and a good cast. If someone was like, will you play Lowen and Verity? I'd be like, yeah. I mean, honestly, like in reality, if I was approached for any of these, I'd be like, yeah, where do I sign? Like, because I've read the book already and it would be so exciting. But this is like an alternate reality where like I have autonomy as an actor. Okay, anyway, The Last Mrs. Parrish. I would also say if it had a good director and cast. I think with these thrillers, Who is Maud Dixon? I think the characters are really, really, really developed in a very specific way where it's almost like thriller meets character study, which is why it's in the would be fun category. But I think with a lot of thrillers can be really hit or miss. And so that's why I think they're ending up in this category, because I do think that like if they end up in the wrong hands, they could just be absolutely horrible. A Woman in the Window, for example, was an amazing book, but the movie was not good. And it had a lot of amazing actors in it, so that makes me think that it was the team that was working on it. Next, we have Daisy Darker. That would definitely be a paycheck job. It's kind of like a And Then There Were None story with like a twist at the end, and yeah, I would do it. I don't have anything against it, but I didn't super connect to that character. Girl A, Lex. Yeah, I remember in my review for this, I said it wasn't my favorite book, but I'd love to be in the movie. I think it would be a career-changing role just because it's really harrowing and drama. I think I would be taken a little bit more seriously as an actor if I played that part. The actual story and like what happens really excite me as an actor. It's just the way the book was written. I didn't super connect to like the writing style, but the story itself, I really do want to play that character. Okay, Court of Silver Flames. If I were to play any character in any book I've read, Nesta Archeron is number 1 on my list. You all know this about me. I say this almost in every video I make. Nesta Archeron, you will always be famous. You are it for me. I love this character so much. What I like about her compared to Feyre is Feyre has a very simple moral complex. She does things that are very brave and very hard and very difficult, but she knows the difference between right and wrong, and she always chooses right. Nesta, like, you start this book and she has just made so many mistakes. She's acted very selfishly, and it's kind of about her having to like deal with that, take responsibility for it, and like move on and like face the depression that comes with that and learn how to lean on people. And I just think it's a beautiful story. Not even for the spice scenes. I know the book is more known for the spice scenes. Her as a character, I can't even, I just love her so much. I can't even really talk about it. Coming out of the lake, it's just like all of these scenes, I'm just like, yes, let me do it. And not just in this book, but the whole series. In the second book, The Emergence, I don't want to give anything away, but like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's just so many things that I just want to play. Even in the first book, you know, like Feyre comes home and Nesta's like she's just like, it's like a villain origin story, but she's not like the villain. It gives that vibe a little bit. I'm gonna stop talking about this now. I just like, I can't, I get very flustered. Bunny, similar feeling to Girl A. The writing style didn't super click for me. I think the movie would be super weird and fun to be in. I wouldn't sell my soul to play it. It's not a like, where would I sign? I'm trying to decide between these two. I don't think it would be career changing, but I think it would be fun. My Dark Vanessa, this would be a career changing role. This would be absolutely harrowing to play. Similar to Girl A, Silent Patient, I think it would be career changing from the standpoint of people will take me more seriously. I just love the character. Hearing about her journey from her own perspective, it's so beautifully written, and I just wanted to reach out and like hug her throughout the whole book. And I think with a character that you're playing, there's sometimes a similar thing where like I'll be playing a character that I love so much or that really clicks with me, and I want to like be able to hug them. Obviously I can't because they're not real, but I don't know if that makes sense. With a good character, a character that you feel really connected to as an actor, like you do have an impulse to just reach out and hug them with all of their imperfections and all of their faults. You just love them anyway. Anyway, I hope that saves. I don't know what this video is going to turn out to be like, but that felt really chaotic for me. That was really overwhelming. Thinking about me playing, I need to like take a nap, honestly. I am overwhelmed. I really wanted to talk about all of those in a more like intellectual way, but I was just too overwhelmed. So I hope that this was enough for you. I hope it's enough for me. Anyway, let me know if this was interesting to you at all, and like I have other ideas of ways I kind of want to engage with my actor / filmmaker self on BookTube. I hope this was good enough for the start. Yeah. If you've been watching my stuff, or if you've seen me in some movies, feel free to comment below what parts you want to see me in. Yes. Oh. Have a great weekend. I can't even explain how chaotic my brain feels after doing that. I just feel all over the place. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.